Welcome to AOSIS Insights, where we unlock knowledge to the world. I'm joined today by Dr. Johanneke Kroesbergen-Kamps from the University of Pretoria in South Africa, author of the book titled Speaking of Satan in Zambia, Making Cultural and Personal Sense of Narratives about Satanism, from the Heart There Is Religion and Society book series. We are going to discuss this book's contribution to the specific scientific discourse. Doctor, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Please share a bit about yourself and your involvement in this field of study.
I am from the Netherlands and I worked as a lecturer in Zambia from 2011. And coming to Zambia, I was confronted with stories that sounded very strange to me. About Satanists who caused all kinds of mayhem, like road accidents and illnesses, failure in business. They even made people fall asleep in churches. And there were people in church services who confessed that they had been Satanists and done all these things. And I noted among people that I knew that people were afraid of what these Satanists could do to them. In my research, I set out to understand these stories and testimonies, and the book is a result of that investigation.
What is this book's contribution to understanding narratives about Satanism within the Christian context of Zambia?
Speaking of Satan in Zambia is the most comprehensive study about Satanism in Southern Africa from an anthropological perspective yet. The book brings many different views together. It traces the history of Satanism to African worldviews combined with Christian concepts of the devil and spiritual warfare. The book also interprets narratives about Satanism as a very modern phenomenon, as a response to changes in Zambian society, such as a greater emphasis on individualism. The Satanist is a threatening caricature of someone who places his own needs and his own wants before those of the family and the community. And these stories help people think about changes in society and what values should be preserved even within those changes. A real contribution of the book is that it looks closely at the producers of narratives about Satanism and what they gain from these stories. I argue that for ex-Satanists, Satanism is a lens through which they look at their past and reinterpret it. I call Satanism a diagnosis because it's often within the context of a Christian healing ministry that people find out that they are Satanists. And from that perspective, they find meaning in misfortunes of the past. As Satanists or ex-Satanists, they take responsibility for example, the deaths of family members. Pastors play a big role in the production of these narratives, and they often give a platform to Satanists to share their stories. And this is not a coincidence. For a pastor, a story about Satanism acts as evidence for their theology, often a theology where spiritual warfare is very important. It is also a mark of the power of the pastor as a man or a woman of God if he was instrumental in the delivery of the ex-Satanist. Of all the people involved in these narratives, the pastor really gains the most from it. These are insights into this phenomenon that haven't been brought together before. And I think that everyone who wants to know more about the African concept of Satanism and really Christianity in Africa in general should read this book.
Thank you. So for the viewers, to publish a book with the AOSIS, please download and submit the book proposal form at books.aosis.co.za. Doctor, thank you for your time.
Thank you.